come to the end of the Business and Markets Week, taking us to the middle of March. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bourse number 5. Just a very quick run through the markets on Thursday. The Egyptian stock market finished the week in the positive territory, despite 2 sessions or so in the week. They were in the red, 0.98% for the final day of the week in Cairo. The Nairobi stock market is one of its strongest single day index upside in recent years, 2.53% for a single jump as investors binged on the shares of Safaricom, a couple of other names such as Kengen, Absa, and KCB Group. The market was very strong on the other stocks as well in terms of bargain hunting, Ever Ready, Uchumi, and of course, a couple of names. Quite a very decent Thursday. The index, the Osha index went above the 100 reading by just 4 notches. And that's some good news there as we head towards Friday, the end of the week. The Nigerian stock market eked out about 30 billion naira in currency value of the market cap addition. That's about 0.05%. The gains that we saw in a couple of names such as Accessco and a few others was moderated by the decline in MTN and Dangote Sugar. And that's Nigeria's trading day, just in summary. The BRVM fell by 0.23%, roughly 0.25%. In South Africa, the GSE fell by 1.24%, dragged down largely by big names within the resources segment of that market, although the industrial and the financial services indices also finished in the red. That's just a summary of your trading day Thursday. Zimbabwe stock market was up strongly above 2%. What else do we have? East Africa. Good news for Somalia. Roughly $2 billion, roughly 100% of the country's debt has been cancelled by the Paris Club of Creditors. Thank you very much. Somalia can use such a gesture to get the Horn of African economy moving. In Kenya, petrol prices down 7 shillings 21. Diesel was also repriced lower by the petrol pricing agency by 5 shillings 09, while kerosene is also down by about 4.49 shillings. Those are a bit of a good news that Kenyans can use. In Uganda, the country is likely to lose about 12 trillion shillings in natural disasters. Well, that's no good news. In the meantime, Tanzania the World Bank is warning Tanzania that the country's increase in population could be a major economic risk for President Samia Suluhu's economy. And Tanzania and India, in the meantime, say their trade relations will likely go up to about $6.4 billion in value. These are the headlines out of East Africa. Let's check in with West Africa. The news around yesterday was the whole internet disruption in Western Central African countries because of the damage to undersea cable by ocean-going vessels around the Cape of Good Hope, and then across around Africa, as it were, because of the problem around the Middle East, the corridor of the Red Sea, and the Houthis still firing and doing damage to vessels going through that corridor. Vessels now have, of course, long stay away from that particular corridor and now using more going around Africa, and that's putting more pressure because of the heavy traffic on the ocean or on the undersea cable. So we've got a lot of problems of internet connectivity with us here in West Africa and around Central Africa. In the meantime, Access Bank research says Nigeria's inflation for the month of February will come in at about 31.20%. That's the forecast. We're going to hear formally, we should expect to hear from the official statistics office today what the figure will be. It was 29.9% in the month of January. Access Bank Intelligence Unit says pressure on the Naira, the exchange rate, and a few other things, and food inflation keeps the Nigeria's inflation pressure further, as it were, and that's the latest. The EFC and EcoBank are partnering to host +234 at International Exhibition in Lagos. That will be next week, Friday, the 22nd. That's when the 10-day event will kick off. And Senegal has gotten about 300 million euros to develop Blaise Diagne International Airport. It's the main airport in Senegal, by the way. It's going to bring it up to speed, make it really international, and make it more than as it were. And that's quite some money that Senegal can use. Afreximbank says he's given $6 million to Barbados, the first of such financing support from Afreximbank on the African continent to any country within the CARICOM area or within the Caribbean ocean states that belong to CARICOM group. Of course, Afreximbank, not too long ago, sometime last year, opened its first office outside the African continent in the Caribbeans, and with the two international trade shows already being held in Barbados and Guyana as well over the last 2 years. Congratulations, and we'll see more. This relationship across the Atlantic between the continent Africa and the diaspora on the Caribbean Ocean. And that's the Caribbean islands, as it were. So that's the news there. Let's take it up. Of course, we're looking at the Southern Africa. The big news was from the big bank, Standard Bank, reporting roughly $20 billion in market capitalization, reporting very big picture, 42.9, roughly 43 billion rand in gross headline earnings for full year 2023. The numbers are out there. You can just look it up. Very heavy. But of course, the earnings were a little bit weakened by the retail segment of the market because of the pressure on of electricity, logistics, and all that in South Africa. But come out a very decent earnings for this big bank, the biggest by assets across Africa, one of the biggest 5 banks in South Africa and across the continent. In the meantime, South Africa's manufacturing output was up 2.6% in January as a year-on-year figure. The South African banking sector could lose as much as 74 billion rand, 1.4% in unpaid loans. And again, that's what I just said about a Standard Bank reporting that the pressure is coming through into the company's accounts and the banks, as it were, as lenders, because the rolling power outage, the whole Transnet, logistics, seaport, congestion and all that are now coming home to roost. Invictus Energy in Zimbabwe says he has signed on a private equity Mangwana Capital to be part of the gas investment in that Southern African country. In Namibia and South Africa, they are looking to build about $377 million transport infrastructure projects. That's good news. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe Postal and Telecom says it's ready and the doors are open to welcome Elon Musk's Starlink project in the country. Those are your headlines. You've been briefed from Southern Africa. Let's take it to the northern part of the continent, with the European Union reportedly putting together about $8 billion in aid package for Egypt. That's according to reports citing Financial Times of London. In the meantime, the size of Islamic banking markets in Egypt is at now about 12.53 billion US dollars. That's at the end of last year, reporting the huge growth that we're seeing in that particular corridor. Tunisia's trade deficit shrank 24.3% between January and February. Some good news, cherry news, as it were, for that economy. While Libya's commercial banks says FX usage is down about 64% in 2 months, January and February. Again, the country is facing pressure as far as FX liquidity is concerned. And those are your headlines as we wrap up the business and markets week 15th of March. I am Bourse Numafai. Do have a great weekend, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you again back on Market Street bright and early next week.